Good day, everyone, and welcome to Different Stages Radio. I'm your host, JJ, broadcasting in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And my guests today are from Italy, Italian rising Scarlet Doom band Messa, who are about to release their brand new album, The Spin, on April 11th on Metal Blade Records. Please welcome my guests, Sara and Alberto. How are you both?
Hey,
Hello, doing great.
It's
yeah.
busy day hitting the promo scene, doing your media work.
It's always a busy day. Busy times, but for good reasons,
Very
indeed.
good, very good. So you have big album coming out on April 11th. I've been, I will say I'm brand new to the band. I'm just jumping on board, so I'm working my way backwards. When the first single At Races came out, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Something really piqued my curiosity. And then the dress came out. I'm like, oh, I'm really digging this. And then when I saw some opportunities coming up to speak with you, I'm like, I think I need to know more. And then to then have Metal Blade to line this up today, as well as sending an advanced copy of the spin to really give a listen to. So I will just digress for a second back to At Races and the dress. Before getting a promo sheet for Metal Blade, I'm like, what is this that's really catching my ear? And it was definitely that 80s vibe that is talked about a lot in the promo sheet. Now, I was hearing some other things aside from what was dropped in the promo sheet, such as references to Sister of Mercy and Killing Joke, that sort of thing. But I was also hearing things like the Police a little bit as far as some of the guitar textures were concerned, and even some Duran Duran and maybe Tears for Fears. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I have this guitar here. So yeah, I mean, the Police for sure is an influence. I love the Police and the band.
I love the
And
police.
yeah, the band.
The band,
Specified the
yeah,
band.
yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I love those textures, those chords, those a little bit jazzy chords that he does, he puts in the songs, and the sound, the clean sounds of the Police. I love those with the chorus effect, and yeah, I mean, almost all the albums is recorded with a Telecaster as a Police did. So yeah, for sure, it's an influence. And I listen to a lot of, like Tears for Fears and I don't know, Bronski Beat,
Yeah,
that kind of vibe. It's something I listen to for sure.
and probably maybe The Cure and maybe some early
Yeah,
U2 maybe.
yeah, yeah, surely.
How about for you, Sarah?
The sound, the sound from the Lion's Mouth and Jeopardy, like crucial albums, I think, when it comes to what we were looking up while we were writing and recording as well.
So once again, as I go back to the promo sheet and reading how you don't ever really want to, and obviously, I think for most bands, try not to repeat themselves. But as I've started to work my way backwards, I can definitely say you definitely don't repeat yourselves. But I'm wondering, was this a conscious direction for you to go to, or did this just kind of magically happen this kind of way that this whole album is cohesive with that sort of vibe, that 80s-ish vibe, which 80s can be really broad as far as saying it's 80s really doesn't, like I'm almost finding that there's some tail end of the 70s cracking into the 80s.
Mhm.
Would you agree with
Yeah,
that? But would you
yeah. I
say
mean,
this was a conscious decision to do something of this variety?
uh, what do you mean with the album or with all our stuff?
Well, as far as the spin is concerned, as far as the 80s kind of goth
Yeah.
influence, was that something that you thought about before putting it together, or did it just kind of come out that way?
Yeah, well, the last track we wrote for the previous album, Close, is called Dark Horse, which already features a little bit of that 80s Killing Joke vibe. So in a way, we kind of developed from that. But also, I mean, it was after a couple of songs really that we decided, okay, let's go with this direction with the 80s sound. So we had also to rearrange some stuff we did in the past. We had a couple songs written before deciding the direction of the new album. But as soon as we decide, okay, let's do this, then we work around this decision, and then all the songs we try to make them fit with the direction. So it's an in between. We found ourselves in a place where we felt it was nice, and then we decided, okay, let's do everything like this.
And it's, yeah, very, very cohesive album, like front to back. I find the flow of it is amazing from, yeah, the opening cut, Void Meridian, like right away, I'm like, here we go. And then I found like,
Thank you.
yeah, and solo too, like really tasteful solos throughout the album, like with Hills and Valleys, beginnings and ends, which I find
Thank
are
you.
often a lost art. Immolation I found was just crushing, like as far as almost rips you apart. Sarah, like your vocals are just ridiculous. Like what's going on here? Talk about it. Where's that coming from?
You're very kind to me. Well, what can I say? Like, when it comes to vocals, I think if you don't, I mean, that's how it works for me at least. If you don't really feel what you're singing, it's just gonna be like a technical thing, and it's like useless for me then. Because one of the things that I really do like about singing is that let's say the primal dimension that this thing has. Like you don't need anything else. You just need your body and your soul to be there, and there's something magical about it because you're the only person in the entire universe that has your voice. And that is like so strange and special at the same time and frightening sometimes because I mean it's like I don't know, when you sing in front of somebody it's like stripping naked
It's
somehow.
all out there. It's all out there.
Metaphorically, yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like really, really frightening. I remember that the first show we ever did with Messa, I was giving my back to the audience because I was too shy, and it took quite a while to let's say get more in a comfort zone, if so I can call it. But yeah, for me, it was a really intense record to record and write down. And as Alberto said, the arranging process took really quite a lot of time because we wanted to be, we wanted the album to be cohesive and and to have a full picture, that worked well, but giving a lot of attention to the details because, there's some things here and there which really do make a difference when you're making an album.
Well, no, I really value the space that you leave on the album where it could have a lot more probably going on at times, but it doesn't. And I find that pulls you in even that much more where it's not so blatant. Now I was going to ask regarding this will be The Spin is the first album on Metal Blade. Now, did they come knocking or were you looking for a new deal?
Well, we did get the chance to meet each other in person with some other people that work for Metal Blade Europe. And I think it was let's say a spontaneous evolution somehow for the band. I'm really, really happy that we're releasing an album with them. To be honest, it's an honor to see, that logo on one of my records. I'm like, what? Because it's such an important label that has a lot of heritage and to me it's insane that my record is being released by such a prestigious label that has done so much for this genre since like the 80s. And I mean, we're very honored to be part of their roster, I must be honest.
Well, it seems almost fitting having, your 80s album on the 80s label. Like one of
See?
the kind of
Perfectly makes sense. On point.
Now with At Races and the Dress, interesting videos and imagery, is that something that you guys work on as a group, or how does that come together?
To us, let's say that the visual part is as much as important as the music that is, which is of course the core, of our work. But when we do release an album, we do release let's say a whole universe somehow. It all revolves around the music, surely, but we do like to have everything set up and tight knit together. So when it comes to the graphic design of, of the records and the t-shirts and I don't know, like everything which is tied, and the videos, I mean, for example, we like everything to be, made in a certain way, and we do care a lot about the visual outcome too, because it still represents the band like a lot. Usually it's me and Marco, the bass player, that do, let's say, put our hands in the dirt for that mostly. But I mean, all of that is, of course, like decided together. Like we're four people, and we use democracy to
Yeah.
get along well with each other. It's otherwise there's no way.
But it goes back to being cohesive and having that full-on representation and presentation of the band that brings it all together and has it
Absolutely.
make sense that there's a focal point.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important, and it has always been. Like I'm not going to release an album that I'm not convinced with the cover artwork of the album itself. I mean, I want to give value to the work. So we're 110% in it.
Something that you
And
can,
also I
yeah.
think it's one of the cool things that you happen to do as a musician. Like if you're, I mean, of course, are into it. Marco is a photographer, I'm a graphic designer, so it's a pleasure for us to, delve deep into all of this too. So let's say that we do find, I mean, comfort / having a good time in that part of the job as well.
But it's probably hard not to be a bit perhaps extra critical on yourself in that case when you're more
Oh, we're
hands-on.
definitely critical. Too much sometimes, I guess.
I wanted to touch on
But it's
quickly
cool.
with,
It makes you go forward. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
if you think you've arrived somewhere,
Mhm.
no,
No,
nobody ever arrives anywhere.
nowhere.
There's
Now,
always something new to learn and do. So
of course, totally. Regarding though the recording of the album, now this was a bit different process for you, correct? Like you
Yeah.
recorded a lot of it individually, and is that so? And
Yeah,
and
for
how's
the
that for capturing a vibe? Yeah, go on.
for the first album, well, for all the albums we did, really, we tried to record all together. I mean, at least drums, bass, and guitar, and to keep the live feeling of the take. But for this album, we decided to do a different approach and to go on the opposite direction and to record separately and even in different locations. And yeah, so we recorded the drums in a studio, and then the bass and the rhythm guitars in another studio, and the vocals as well. And then the solos, I recorded the solos at my parents' house. So I had like a whole week to record them, and this actually made some difference because I had finally some time to work really on the arrangement of the solos and make them become more part of the song. So it's not just a solo on top of three chords, but it's more like a thing that is happening that tells you something about the song and builds up. So yeah, this was definitely different from the other albums. I mean, the other albums, I mean, I don't want to say I never work on the solos or the arrangement, but we tend to, you know, since I love to improvise, I tend to leave that to the moment and improvise them. But yeah, on this occasion, we try to, as I said, as we say, always to do something different that we haven't done before. So yeah, this was a way to do it.
Always good to challenge yourself. But you talking about
Yeah.
the solos, so you just gave me chills because now the solos just became better in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean,
But it's like I can hear that now as you describe it. It's like, no, because these are such tasteful. And that's the thing. I don't want to ruin it for people because I want people to dive in and hear everything fresh. But it's not like these, don't want to take anything away, like ripping solos, but it's like like I mentioned earlier, I feel there's such a lost art with the spacious solo with, yeah, there's some ripping in there, but it makes sense. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And yeah, you succeed
yeah,
extremely well with that.
thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that because I mean, I don't want to. One thing that I don't like about guitarists is that a lot of times they just play because they can and make a lot of noise and a lot of notes. But the thing I try to do is that, I mean, I think about what I'm gonna play before, and it's a dialogue in a way. I'm saying something. So if that comes through, I'm really happy. So thank you.
You're welcome. It did. You got
Thank you.
some album release shows coming up. You want to talk about those quickly? You have two, one you'll be at and one you won't be at.
I didn't understand the question. I'm sorry.
You have two album release shows coming up, or album
Oh, yeah.
or listening parties, I guess they are. One that you will be at and one you won't. Is
Well,
that correct?
like,
You have one.
yeah, we do
Yeah,
have like
was it
one.
April 10th, April 10th in Milan, and then you have one April 11th that you will be attending.
There, yeah, we're gonna attend the second one, the one in Bassano del Grappa, which is, let's say, our hometown.
Okay.
And we're gonna have that listening party in the record shop we always go to. So it's gonna be like a way to celebrate at home somehow, in a place we feel like home, because we spent like countless hours in there, spent a ton of money too, but for good reasons. And so yeah, we're gonna have those two listening parties, and then we're gonna have two release shows as well, and we're very, very excited for them. Um, we're gonna play Roadburn, and we're gonna play the spin in its entirety, and we're super stoked about it. It's our third time playing Roadburn, and it's a magical place to have a show. Like everything is like really intense in the best way this can be intended. And then we're gonna have another release, let's say an Italian release show, which is gonna be in Venice, which is, let's say, close to our, not so close, but close to our hometown somehow. And it's gonna be exciting because we have some friends joining with their like in the bill of that evening, and it's gonna be really nice. And we did pick up bands of friends that do have musical project that we do esteem a lot. So it's gonna be a good way to celebrate, I think.
You're going to be busy, and then you got Hellfest in the summer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are
And
happening.
then it's gonna be tough too, in a good way.
No, no. Just before we wrap things up, the Roadburn show, might this be recorded for a possible another Roadburn release? Maybe, possibly. Since you're doing the whole album front to back, it seems kind of a bit of a no-brainer, but maybe you don't want to.
I think it's something, I mean, we haven't talked about it, to be honest. It's something that we did already with the extended, yeah, lineup,
Mhm.
let's call it that. So when Close came out, and we did the Roadburn show for Close. So since we always say that we don't want to repeat ourselves, I guess we're not going to release it. But who knows? Like, you never know what might happen.
Little bonus or something somewhere down the road. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you have such a busy day. I'm so forward looking to the Spin coming out, your debut on Metal Blade Records, being released on April 11th. Watch out for album release shows, listening parties, also including the show at Roadburn on April 18th. Look for them at Hellfest this summer. Alberto and Sara, you were on different stations of radio.
Hello, and thank you for having us.